Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Zachary Gio.
And this is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting in the United States, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it.
Yes, sir. Even if it is fresh grade diesel. Just kidding. Don't do that. That'll actually kill you.
Yeah, please don't.
That would be terrible. Get you a nice gallon-sized can of diesel and just... Oh, yeah. Hello, Impa.
Well, this is part 2 of... Well, technically, it was supposed to be Zelda month. Zelda 2 months? I don't know.
Zelda... Year.
This is part 2 of our Oracle of Ages and Seasons episode. So in part 1, we did Oracle of Ages. Now we're talking about Oracle of Seasons.
Hell yeah, brother.
And honestly, man, I'm actually really excited to get into this because, you know, a whole new dimension of these two games was opened up to me the second I started a linked game. So, of course, I started with Oracle of Ages. And then I'm playing Oracle of Seasons in a linked game. And you actually told me that that was the best order to do it in.
Yes, that's the exact same way I started it when I was younger. You know, you start with Oracle of Ages and then you go into Seasons. Because Ages kind of focuses more on the puzzle aspect of the Legend of Zelda, while Seasons focuses more on combat. And use of, like... items to fight and defeat enemies and stuff like that. And actually, as we're discussing this, I just got an Elgato, and I am streaming Oracle of Seasons in the Discord while Ash and I are talking about it. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, absolutely. It's definitely the best idea to do Ages first, and then to go straight into Seasons. It's a more fluid way to play the games, and plus, the end of Seasons feels a little bit more epic compared to the end of Ages, and so it's kind of like you're working towards that finale, and it's really cool because at the end of a linked game, obviously you get to fight Twin Rova and Ganon, but that's something we'll discuss further on in the episode.
Yeah, so I got to agree with you about Oracle of Ages being a good starter game, and it's interesting because Seasons is technically the default starting point. Like usually like in timeline listings and official materials, it's listed first. But yeah. I mean, there is no like canonical order to these games because they can be played in any order. But I got to agree with you. I think Ages makes a lot more sense, at the very least from a gameplay perspective, due to the fact that Seasons is more action-oriented, throws you at enemies. So having a little bit of combat experience fighting Oracle of Ages tougher enemies actually helps. Plus the little head start that you get as a result of playing a linked game.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, when it comes to just playing these games in general, they're not that difficult. I mean, unless you're a little kid, like I was when I started them. When you're kind of a seasoned gamer, like both Ash and I, it's not really that difficult to get into it, but it is nice to have kind of that head start. Going into Ages definitely gives you a little bit more of a grace period before things start to pick up, while Seasons just kind of throws you right in the middle of the action. As you can see from this playthrough, you guys can't see it, but Ash and I can. Ash, you can see that it kind of immediately throws you into the first dungeon, and you're immediately going in and solving puzzles and fighting enemies and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. I always thought that Seasons was harder, but Ages makes you use your brain on puzzles more, and so it's cool to think about. It's cool to experience many. I've done Ages first, I've done Seasons first, and Ages first is definitely the way to go. Oh,
yeah.
Smack.
And I think the complete experience of this is similar to the Resident Evil 2 complete experience. Is playing both playthroughs in both orders. So
For sure.
Like the Leon A, Claire B, Claire A, Leon B thing. There's a whole flow to the way that the Oracle games approaches 100% completion, and that's because you play through the first game and then you play through the linked game, which completes the storyline and results in that final boss fight. And then you get the chance to restart a playthrough with a new secret password that carries over to the next game, allowing you to start, what was it called? The hero mode or hero's quest?
Oh, you're talking about like when you beat one game and take it over?
The hero secret.
The hero secret. All right, so yeah, you get the linked secret, which is the first one that allows you to kind of continue the story, and then the hero secret that allows you to go back and play through that original adventure with the Mark of the Triforce, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so the hero secret is kind of like a new game plus, actually.
Sort of.
And sort of, right? It's kind of like an early attempt at like a new game plus situation, and essentially it's allowing you to start the pair of games over again and play it in the opposite order. And there's actually an incentive to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like this game screams 100% completion in it because of all of that. If only it weren't for the grindy RNG mechanics. As far as getting all of the rings and whatnot.
I never actually did that. I just kind of play through the games and do their story. But
yeah.
That's not for everybody.
And across four playthroughs, I mean, you have time to do it, but it's whether or not you're willing to invest the time. Thankfully, emulators make that much easier. I did find myself making save states in order to get that last heart piece from Maple, for instance. I mean, that is what I would consider, for completion. But
yeah,
all in all, each of these games, both Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, are pretty short on their own, similar to Resident Evil 2. But when you play, the fact that you get to play through them 4 times for a complete experience, I think is what adds to it. Or at least twice, right? You at least have to do both games. And so they add up to a complete experience. It's honestly an innovative system, and I'd love to see Zelda do something like this again.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if they did it again, but I also think that it would be kind of a step back. Because with what we have now, with this open world formula, with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, as long as they tweak the storytelling a little bit, I think you have the perfect Zelda game.
That's true. But that's for a mainline Zelda game. I'm thinking more in lines of like the in-between games. I don't want to call them spin-offs, but the entries,
the top-down experiences.
Yeah, your 2D Zelda games.
Yeah. For sure. Like, this is where it started for me, and I've always loved this formula where you're kind of given a quest and you just take part in it and you just keep going until it's done. Like, whether you have to find the pendants at the beginning of A Link to the Past and then continue freeing the Spirit Maidens, or you find the 8 essences of nature and time like you do in Oracle of Seasons and Ages. Like, right now what I'm doing is these are wall masters, and I hate them in these games. They're so annoying. Oh!
I know. You know how many times I've rewinded on the emulator in order to
not get teleported?
Yes.
Yeah, it's annoying. For those of you who can't see what's going on, I'm about to actually fight the Gleeok that's at the end of the Gnarled Root dungeon at the beginning of Oracle of Seasons, and I'm in the room right before the boss room where you fight off all the blue wall masters. There's like 3 per section.
Yeah.
They're easy once you get used to them, but this style of Zelda is how it always was for me, which is why when I first saw Breath of the Wild, I was excited for it, but I was a little skeptical because I knew that they were completely taking the Zelda series and flipping it on its head.
Right.
Which, it works. Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game ever now. I love it, and actually, after we record this, I'm probably going to do the Fire Temple with Ash. But if they were to continue doing that formula on, let's say, the Switch or the Switch 2, whatever gets released, I think if they remade these games, it would work very well. But as far as mainline Zelda games, sticking to that 3D open world format is perfect. I hope that they do there have been rumors that they're going to remaster these games, but I don't know. What would you think about that? Do you think these games are okay as they are, or do you think they could make them better with remakes?
Oracle of Ages and Seasons? I would love to see a remake in the vein of the Link's Awakening remake.
Oh, dude, it's so good. I would just like the music to be a little bit more full, because the Link's Awakening remake felt a little flat to me. Like, it was good.
You mentioned that last episode.
The light instrumentation it's a bit when it comes in terms of hit or miss, it's a little bit miss for me. So
if they went with fully orchestrated with multiple instruments, that would I think be best in order to and like a lot of remakes do, there should be an option to listen to the at least listen to the original music.
Sure.
If not switch to it.
Dude, that'd be weird though. Playing with remade graphics, but like 8-bit music, or is this 16-bit? This is 16-bit, isn't it?
16-bit, I believe. Resident Evil 2 remake did it though. I keep bringing up that game, but
hey man, if you like a game, use its references. Like, why not? I'm about to go name this baby.
For real, the baby. Oh yeah, so
the baby.
Zach, I was watching your playthrough, and I'm pretty high. So I forgot what I was watching, and I'm looking at my computer screen and I'm like, man, this guy, whoever's playing this is really good. And I was like, oh wait, that's Zach. Dildo, yes, naming the baby Dildo. I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, dude, gotta name the baby Dildo.
Oh my god. When I used to play like Minecraft and LAN multiplayer, I would do I would make my name Dildo Swaggins.
Dildo Swaggins.
Swaggins.
I used to say something else, but I can't say that.
I'm pretty sure I used that on Town of Salem too.
Oh, see, all right. So this is the ring that you get for doing the hero's quest. The evil King Ganon defeated. And I just wear that the entire game. That's it.
What does the ring do?
I think it's just a symbol of you defeating the evil King Ganon.
Yeah, it's like some of them are commemorative. Like you get like a ring for slaying 1,000 beasts. And I think you get something for breaking 100 signs.
Yes, you do. You do indeed. There it is.
So
it's called the Victory Ring.
The Victory Ring, nice.
Yeah.
So it's just commemorative effort. Yeah, man, I fucking love these games, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and I'm glad that I got a chance to really get into them. And I'm glad I really actually got to finally play Oracle of Seasons, because I've always tried to play Ages and I never finished Ages, so I never started Seasons.
Yeah, I was about to say the end of Ages is so good. The fight with Varric is fantastic.
It is fantastic, and we definitely talked about it, but it was nice to finally be able to get into this experience. And I've been playing through Ages, and I haven't completed it yet, actually, because long story short, and the reason why this episode is as delayed as it is, part of the reason is that my Switch I left in San Antonio, Texas, when I came to visit for the holidays. San Antonio / Lake Hills, where my parents live. And I came back to Houston without my Switch and my phone charger, mind you. So my mom had to mail it to me. And then get this, it took like 2 or 3 weeks to ship the damn thing. There was some weird issue with UPS or with USPS. So yeah, I was without my Switch for a good like 3 weeks or so.
Yeah. I feel that pain.
I wanted to complete Oracle of Seasons. I wanted to play this. I wanted to record this episode, but man, life got in the fucking way.
Damn, I was doing so well. I was doing that little quest where you have to follow Rosa into Sabrosa. Oh.
Yeah, so this game has Sabrosia, which, Oracle of Ages had 2 maps, which was the past and the present map. And so Oracle of Seasons not only has the seasons changing mechanic, which is the namesake of the game, that affects the overworld, but it has an additional map that is Subrosia. I don't know, kind of like an early Depths, I guess, in a way.
It feels like the Dark World from A Link to the Past, but not quite as similar to, the main overworld. It feels more... It's different enough from the past in Ages, because Seasons came second. It's different enough from Ages in the past to make it kind of like its own gimmick, even though you're playing in Holodrum versus playing in Labrina. It's enough to make it feel unique, but it's like this wonderland, kind of like this underworld of bubbly lava and volcanic activity with these weird hooded people. It's hilarious.
But it's underneath the surface, which I think is why I thought of the Depths. So I actually thought that was kind of cool in a sense. It's actually a smaller map than the overworld, but it's very interesting. In fact, it has its own currency. You actually have to get ore, right?
Yes, sir. You have to get Subrosian ore, I think.
Yeah. So like,
and I'm dancing right now.
You dig up bits of ore instead of rupees, and it's like a separate currency system. You know what I found in this game? That I actually stocked up on rupees very quickly. I did not have the same experience with Oracle of Ages, but in Seasons, by like, I don't know, the third or fourth dungeon, I was already at 999 rupees and had nothing to burn it on.
I got the boomerang.
And it's like... the only thing I could even spend money on was like appraising a ring, and then it turned out to be a ring I already had, and I actually got more money back. Great. Another 10 rupees wasted.
Oh, yeah. And I like this game because you have to focus on two different types of currency, like the ore chunks and the rupees versus, Ages having just rupees. It kind of makes for a different mechanic as far as buying, selling, and trading with people, and it's very fascinating to kind of check how the system works, and it's a lot of fun to play the mini games in Subrosa. And there's like two, how there's a trading sequence in Ages?
Yeah.
There's one in Seasons as well, and it's the same thing to get the Sacred Noble Sword, but it takes place in both worlds, and by helping both Subrosians and are they Hylians? No, it's not Hylians. Holodrons.
Holodramonians? I don't know.
Holodramoniamonionans. But it's interesting to have how the systems work differently as opposed to just having a difference in where you're at in the timeline.
Yeah, so there's a whole sequence. That's what I was mentioning earlier whenever I said that this game opened up a new dimension for me playing the linked game experience, because there's this sort of synergy, and what you do is in my case, I played through Ages, and then I got into Seasons. In Seasons, I would get a password from a character who mentioned I should go talk to somebody in Labrina from Ages and give them this password, essentially. So you go back. I would load up my Oracle of Ages file. It's really easy on Nintendo Switch's Game Boy emulator.
Oh, for sure.
But / Game Boy Color emulator. You load up Ages, and then I would go find that character, go tell them the secret. They give me an upgrade, which is no longer useful to me in Ages, but they also give me a return password. And so you get early upgrades. I got early upgrades in Seasons as a result. And I was able to, already start out, like the mid-game with decent supply of seeds and bombs, etc.
Oh, for sure. It's really cool how they have the system work. And I don't know how they did it, but it's like they already know that you've got the password when you're coming back, unless they ask for it immediately. I don't remember. It's been a while. For those of you who can see what's happening, I am currently acquiring the winter season for my Rod of Seasons. I'm moving through this pretty quickly. I told Ash that I'd probably finish with the second dungeon by the time we're finished recording, but I may be moving a little bit faster than that.
For real.
Because I'm booking it.
So yeah, there was this whole new linked game experience to go through, being able to encounter characters who you had met in Labrina, or encounter characters that ordinarily appear in seasons, but reference the fact that they've already met you before.
Oh yeah, they're like, "Hey, it's good to see you again," or "What are you doing here?" La.
Yeah, so the game throws in plenty of additional content in the linked game in order to hammer the experience down as a continuative experience. And I really appreciated the level of depth that they went into go that, because, I mean, while these are, for us now, very easy and very short, I'm still surprised at the level of detail and the quality.
Oh, and they took forever when we were kids, dude. These games took me forever. It took me 3 months to beat Ages the first time.
Yeah, man.
So it's hard. Well, it's not hard now, but
well, and so, the other thing too is that now where I'm at in my life, it's like if I play a game and I get to the point where I'm just like really stuck and I don't know where to go or what to do, I'll just go ahead and look it up now. And that also helps. But, just in general, as you get older, games become easier. And as I've played more and more Zelda games, yeah.
Yeah. And these are kind of like base level intro Zelda games for those of people that aren't, familiar with the series, because I didn't know what Zelda was and I started playing these games. So it was good for me to be able to kind of get into these games this way, because they were difficult for me to learn, but they were also fun enough for me to like walk around and discover new things and solve puzzles. And it's a wonderful experience. So if you haven't played these games, or if you're not really familiar with the Zelda series, this is a really good place to start. And Oracle of Seasons is a lot of fun because you can move through it a little bit quicker, but it's more detail oriented on like interactions with monsters and such. And it makes for a pretty interesting experience.
For sure. So, and in addition to experiencing the linked game for the first time, I also was introduced to Seasons' main gimmick, as mentioned earlier, which is the ability to change seasons. While the game isn't as puzzle oriented as Oracle of Ages, I was satisfied with the quality of the puzzles oriented around changing the seasons. And there's kind of this sense of completion as you keep going back to the Temple of Seasons, acquiring new seasons. And so, you kind of have this sense of satisfaction as you're able to cycle through different aspects of the world everywhere you go.
Yeah, of course. And I actually like Season's story a little bit more. Just because I think Onox, is it Nox or Onox? I don't remember. He is a lot more imposing to me. I think that his final boss fight is much more difficult, and I don't know if you've gotten to that point yet, Ash, but he's tough.
He's
not. Very tough. It's fun, but it's tough.
Yeah.
So just prepare your anus.
Definitely prepared for it. I gotta say, it was refreshing to see new and unique items in these games. These games neither actually have the bow in them. Instead, they have other projectile weapons. So there are some Zelda conventions that are being broken here with Flagship, the Capcom and Nintendo joint studio, developing this. But what I was even more pleasantly surprised by was the difference between ages and seasons in items. It's like, the games are very similar, but the fact that there are different items or items that get different upgrades, or different items that get upgrades, I should say.
Yeah.
Really changes the whole experience up. Did you have a favorite item in Seasons?
My favorite item in this game is the magical boomerang. I think that it is dope, and I really like the fact that you can kind of control the direction that the boomerang is going in. I've always thought that was unique. Either that or the magnetic gloves. The magnetic gloves are dope because they obviously differentiate between the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole, I guess magnetic poles.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you call them, where you can push and pull metallic objects away from you, solving puzzles and killing enemies. And actually, did you beat the Crown Dungeon?
Which one was that one?
That's the dungeon you get the gloves in.
Yes.
Okay, so the mole boss is fantastic.
My favorite item was the glove. By
Yeah,
far, that's what I was going to say. The magnetic glove is my favorite item in both of these games. It was so much fun. The puzzles around it are really innovative.
Well, the magnetic glove isn't in Ages; it's just in Seasons.
Right.
You're thinking of the power glove from Ages.
No, I'm saying across both of these games, this is my favorite item.
Oh, okay, cool. My bad.
Yeah, because and then that's why I brought it up too, because it's one of the items that's unique to Seasons, and I thought that there were some really interesting puzzles with that were involved in it with it.
For sure, absolutely. Especially pushing and pulling yourself across gaps. That's one of my favorite types of things to do, because not only is it cool to kind of push yourself over an open pit, which otherwise you'd fall in and take damage from. There are some puzzles where you have to alternate which direction you're going over an open pit. And not only is it intense, but it's also kind of hard to pull off. You'll see that a lot once you get to the 7th dungeon. Those puzzles are tough, bro.
Yeah, I think I might have gotten that far already.
Okay, so the Explorer's Crypt?
Yeah, actually, that's the dungeon I think... Or I think that's the dungeon I'm about to get to.
It's very long. It'll take you about 2 hours to beat that dungeon.
Yeah,
it's a long boy.
Yeah, so I completed the Ancient Ruins.
Dude, that's my favorite dungeon in the whole game. I love the Ancient Ruins.
Oh god, the music was so cool, man.
Yep, and the mini boss is actually the same one as the one from Ages. You fight what's his name?
Vyre.
That's his name. And when you do a linked experience, he remembers you, and instead of running away, he actually dies. And it's a little sad because I can't do this yet; it's too heavy. But Vyre is the only enemy that remembers you across games, and beating him, you beat him twice. He says it too. He's like, not once, but twice you've beaten me. I can't do this anymore. Goodbye. And he actually dies. So a little bit of darkness there, but it's still cool how they did that. I don't remember this part. I always get stumbled right here on this dungeon.
This is the second dungeon?
Yeah, this is the Snake's Remains.
Yeah. So one notable aspect about Seasons, and I know we mentioned it last time, is that the game was originally developed as a remake of The Legend of Zelda. Or at least what would become Seasons was that, or a lot of elements of that ended up getting into Seasons. A notable example, of course, is the fact that the Gnarled Root dungeon is in a tree in approximately the same position, and it looks identical to the first dungeon of the very first Zelda. and even features the same boss, Aguamentus.
Is it Aquamentus or is it a Gleeok?
Gleeok isn't until later.
I've never actually beaten the original Zelda.
Yeah, and the original Zelda, Aguamentus is the very first one. Gleeok comes later.
Isn't the original Legend of Zelda kind of like an open world format? You can beat the dungeons in whatever way you find them.
It's not like you can go to any one of them in any order, but yeah, you can pretty much at any given time in the game. There are different. There usually are going to be multiple dungeons that you can access at that point. It's still
like a 2-hour game, right? It's very short.
Yeah, I think you could get through it that quickly. I remember, back in the day, I think it probably took my dad and I longer too. We actually took turns playing that. Never did finish Second Quest, but we did beat the original Zelda.
Ooh, what is Second Quest?
So it's basically Master Quest. It's a whole separate mode where the dungeons are rearranged. Well, they're not just rearranged; they're whole new dungeons.
That's dope.
With entirely different layouts and enemy placements, and they're in all different locations. So all the dungeons are locations are swapped around too. So level 1, I think level 1 is still where level 1 is, but level 3 might be where level 7 is. I don't know for sure. I'm just but yeah. So it's a whole different experience, and it's actually pretty cool. It's it's kind of similar to what a rearrangement mod might do. Or basically what Ocarina of Time Master Quest did.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I actually never beat Ocarina of Time's Master Quest either.
I haven't beat it either.
I should definitely do that. I've heard it's crazy hard.
I've beat Ocarina many times. It's probably the Zelda game I've played through the most times, but I've never completed Master Quest. But yeah, Seasons and Ages are also nice in that because they're so short and sweet. There is kind of this, there is a sort of replayability to them. You can kind of open them up later, and you don't even have to sacrifice a whole lot of time, invest a whole lot of your valuable time to game on it. And it's going to probably be the best time you're going to have out of anything else that you're playing, depending on what it's going on.
Can we talk about how fast I just shat on Facade right there?
That was fast. Man,
that's crazy, bro.
I told you earlier I was watching your playthrough and I was like, this guy's good. Holy shit. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Zach.
Dude, it's kind of sad, honestly. How many times I've played through these games, but they're classics to me, I remember I had Ages, but my family, I couldn't find Seasons, and my family couldn't afford it at the time. And so I used to have dreams about this game when I would get to play it finally. And then I got it one day for Christmas, and it was just the best. There they go. These little rabbits are annoying. Oh, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but if you have a flute, these little rabbits, they're like rabbit hopping things.
The Pole's voices? Yeah.
Pole's voices, that's what they are. If you have a flute, like for Moosh or Dimitri or Ricky, they'll die instantly.
Yeah, or the Harp of Ages and Ages.
Yeah.
At first, I was kind of at a loss because when you face the pole voices, I didn't have any kind of musical item, and then it occurred to me later the next time that I had Dimitri's flute, and I was like, oh, okay. So, by the way, yeah, I picked Dimitri, and that was in Ages because I kind of felt like Moosh is supposed to be the default companion of Ages and Ricky of Seasons, so I was going to go for the neutral option to carry across both in my first playthrough.
Yeah, of course.
But I wish I had picked Ricky. Ricky is so much cooler. Ricky's the best animal companion by far.
He is. I missed a key somewhere, so I'm going to have to go to bed.
In fact, Dimitri's actually irrelevant partway through Ages because you get the mermaid suit. At least he remains relevant in Seasons.
That is true. I'm missing a key.
So, and similarly, I would say Moosh probably becomes irrelevant in Seasons because of the Rock's cape.
I would say he doesn't become irrelevant, but he definitely, not irrelevant, but he definitely is not as needed.
That was something else that was cool. These games both have different items. So, the Ages had the switch hook. Seasons has the magnetic glove. They'll have different variations of items. So, Ages has the seed shooter, and Seasons has the seed slingshot. but they'll even have different upgrades to some of the same items. So the switch hook, which is an Ages exclusive item, gets an upgrade. The mermaid flippers or Zora flippers or whatever they are get an upgrade, becoming the mermaid suit. But in Seasons, the Rock's feather gets an upgrade and becomes the Rock's cape, which I remember was in one or both of the Four Swords games. Or no, it was in the Minish Cap. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rock's cape is in the Minish Cap, and that Rock's cape is ridiculous. Because realistically, in the Minish Cap, you don't have all of this side-scrolling, like one room per frame. I guess that's what you call it. And so Rock's cape can kind of sling you over long distances, and it's really cool, especially if you're using the Pegasus boots. Which I think that's one item that could have benefited from being in these games was the Pegasus boots.
Get the Pegasus seeds.
Well, Pegasus seeds, yeah, but I mean, those are limited. You can only have a certain amount of those. Granted, it's difficult to run out of them. Also, I don't remember where to go.
Yeah. And also, it is a design choice. And actually, I'm kind of thankful for it. You know, putting powers locked behind that. In any place where, like, you're going to need to use a certain type of seed, Ember seeds or Pegasus seeds, you know, they're going to be supplied generally.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're hard to run out of, especially once you get the larger seed bags. I think I went through my Ages playthrough without getting a single seed bag upgrade. And I didn't realize that one existed in the game. But when I got the password for it in Ages, I realized that there was another upgrade in the world in order to get you the third tier upgrade. So I actually unlocked both of those in the post game of Ages when they were no longer useful. But I've been working through Seasons with mostly through the second tier of seed bag upgrades, and it's actually been nice because like you never run out of seeds.
Well, out of curiosity, what's been your favorite moment so far from Seasons? Because we haven't really talked much about the story. Basically, the game kind of starts the exact same way Ages does. You spawn near the Oracle of Choice in the game. Actually, hang on. There's a certain way to do this before the chest explodes.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing the Hero's Cave right now.
No, this is the Snake's Remains. This is the second dungeon.
This one has one of those puzzles too that's timed? I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember this puzzle. I thought I remembered it being in the Hero's Cave. I'm gonna say one of my favorite moments in the game has actually been playing through the Hero's Cave.
The Hero's Cave is fantastic. It's also, I think you just get a ring for beating it. I'm not sure. But those puzzles are tough, dude.
Seriously. I mean, I think it's kind of just more for like the completion of it. It's like, yeah, you beat this dungeon. I mean, most dungeons don't really give you tangible rewards besides the heart containers. So
true.
Yeah, it is a very tough dungeon, and I like how it's an early example of a returning Zelda dungeon in a game, like a central dungeon that you keep coming back to, which we later saw in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, this game, my favorite part is the going into the Tarm Ruins, I think is what it's called, and going through the forest and getting the Sacred Noble Sword, because it's kind of like an aspect of the Lost Woods, which was lacking from these games, but Seasons kind of made up for that. I love the Lost Woods is always my favorite aspect of Zelda games. Like, for some reason, it's just when I can, I'm going to theme my office after the Lost Woods. Danielle and I have actually been talking about that. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh yeah, but the Seasons version of the Lost Woods is so cool because you actually have to not only find the correct sequence, but you have to change the seasons in the right order each step of the way. And I thought that was really cool. It was a fun, because like they'll tell you to with each step the seasons have to get warmer. So you can't just go through the seasons and cycle. You have to think, okay, so we need to start with winter because that's the coldest, and then move up to autumn, and then move up to spring, and then move up to summer. You have to actually think about it.
And you have to move west each time.
And that's just to get through the story. There's a separate way in order to get the Noble Sword or the Master Sword in my playthrough.
It's difficult to do.
I guess that's where you get the noble sword in the original game.
And you mean in the very first game?
Okay, so in Oracle of Seasons, when I played in a linked game, I got the Master Sword, right? When I got through the Lost Woods like segment, was that in? That's near.
That's Tarm Ruins. That's Tarm Ruins.
That's Tarm Ruins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got the Master Sword. So I'm wondering, is that if you were playing Oracle of Seasons as the first game, would that be where you got the Noble Sword?
Yes.
Okay. So, and what about the Bigoron sword? Because I did that trading sequence. Is that only? No, that is in both games. I got it via a secret in Ages.
Yeah, getting it. I think you can only get it via a secret in Ages. In Seasons, you have to climb to the top of the section where the Gorons are.
I still had to do that. I remember I still had to talk to Bigoron in order to complete the side quest. But yeah.
We are in the boss room for the second dungeon.
Nice. So is the guy on my TV. You actually caught up to him and he started first. You're literally at the same part of the game. This is insane. Fighting the King Dodongo. Also, what is up with Dimitri? Why is he different from other Dodongos in the series?
I don't know.
He's adverse to heat. He cannot be in heat, which is unusual because Dodongos usually live in heat. And he also swims in water. He's like aquatic, which is a little unusual. So, it's like, is Dimitri the one that's different, or is that just how Dodongos are in the worlds of Labrina and Holodrum?
I think that's just how they are.
I mean, we're fighting King Dodongo right now, and his dungeon isn't like fire themed or anything. So, I mean, neither was it in the first Zelda.
Ooh.
But
the second essence being collected. Got it. Hey, gift of time.
Also, is the Hero's Cave different in both games?
Yes.
Okay.
The puzzles are different.
Okay,
and they're just as hard as the other.
So another reason to go through both playthroughs of both games, because you're going to actually get a different dungeon experience, which represents the most difficult puzzles and toughest boss fights. I remember Seasons has a room in its Hero's Cave where you have to step on the switches, and each switch spawns monsters, a bunch of monsters, and you think like at first maybe I just have to hit the right switch. No, you have to actually hit each switch and defeat every single wave of monsters. Kind of similar to I know there was like a mini dungeon in Wind Waker or maybe multiple that were like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Where you had to go into different rooms and fight waves of enemies.
What is that? It's to get one of the pieces of the Triforce.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the Triforce charts. It's the Cave of Ordeals from Twilight Princess, or I don't remember what it's called, but it's on Outset Island in the Wind Waker.
No, I'm not talking about the pit of not the pit of 100 trials. That's Paper Mario. I'm not talking about that. I know what you're talking about. Not the one on Outset, but there's actually a little mini dungeon. I think at least one. I don't know if there's I can't remember if there's just one of them or there's multiple, but I know there's one on Dragon Roost Island, and you go down in the hole, and it's a circular room, and there's multiple circular rooms connected to it. And
I didn't know that.
Room you go in, you fight a wave of enemies, and then you come back to the center, and then there's some kind of collection reward for it. Part of me might have thought that it was one of the Triforce pieces or the Triforce charts, but now on second thought, maybe not. It may have just been a rupee reward or something stupid.
I don't know. But as you can see from my current playthrough, we've been talking this entire time, and I started from the beginning of the game on this playthrough, and now I'm already on my way to the third dungeon. You can get through Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons relatively quick if you know where you're going. And I've beaten this game several times, but it's just... These games are so fun to just glide through quickly if you know how to play them. I love both of these games. I really do. I don't know what else there's much to talk about. You have specific items for each game. You have specific dungeons that are themed to the essences of nature and the essences of time. And I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Seasons might be my favorite game.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really fucking good.
They're both really good, man. I'll have to actually properly finish Seasons in order to have an educated opinion on it. And I plan to finish the entire cycle and, play through both games again in the reverse order. Yeah, I think that they're both phenomenal. I like Seasons much more than I think I thought I would. I think with Ages, I'd played it several times before, or quite a bit of the ways through it. So a lot of it was very familiar to me, but Seasons was a whole new experience. And there was something a little bit more enjoyable about that, about experiencing something for the first time and being surprised by it. Of course, that happened in the later dungeons of Oracle of Ages as well. But yeah, I'd say don't sleep on these games. They're easy to emulate.
So easy to emulate. Like, the Game Boy Color basically takes no processing power at all.
Yeah. If you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, which I actually recommend, I think it's well worth the value. It's actually quite a bit more expensive than we mentioned. I think I said it was like
$70.
I think I said it was like $20 a year in part 1 or something. I was like, what?
It's like 50 at least.
I only pay it once a year, so it might have been like in the first installment before there was the expansion pack and everything which you need. But anyway, anything that's like yearly like that, I feel like it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, yeah.
I'm about to beat this dude's ass.
And the emulator is actually really nice. You can instantly rewind. That helps with some of like the dance segments in these games that are just not fun to have to do over and over and over again. Also with the RNG mechanics, if you're going for 100% completion, getting every ring and dealing with the Gasha seed stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I actually really like the Gasha seeds. Getting ring, you have to use Gasha seeds to get a couple pieces of heart.
Yeah, you have to, in order to get, there's one piece of heart that's in a Gasha seed, and there's one that's with maple, both of which depend on RNG mechanics. But with save states,
I hate maple so much.
I used to avoid her.
You have to defeat 30 enemies for her to appear. So if you miss her, you got to kill 30 more enemies for her to appear again. And there's part of the trading sequence in Ages requires you to bump into her and like give her a sad book, and she gives you like an egg.
Yes.
I think it's an egg.
Yeah, I did the whole trading sequence, and I got the Bigoron sword. I remember that. Yeah, it must be annoying. Thankfully, I'm playing on an emulator, and Nintendo's official emulator, in fact, and it has rewind mechanics and save states, so it makes that whole experience easier, because I can just, if I miss a maple encounter or whatever, or I don't get the ring I want, I can always just go back. I think with maple and the Gasha seeds, though, in order to reload the RNG, you have to kill another enemy. But essentially, you're due for an experience after you've killed 30 enemies, so you can just keep killing enemies and experimenting to see what you get, so you can get that heart piece or that ring or that one item from her.
Oh yeah.
But that makes it a lot easier. Or rewind if you just missed real quick.
It's good for your pride too when you beat it. Oh, I forget you can get 2 kinds of seeds like super quick in this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I am blazing through this game, dude.
But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and give our final thoughts on Oracle of Seasons and the Oracle games as a whole.
Yeah.
How about you, Zach?
I thoroughly enjoy them. I think that both of them are very fun to play. I think that if you're looking for a good little time waster, then if you're looking for a good game to waste time with, then you're in luck, because these games are super fun. They are super easy once you get past a certain mental threshold in life. Like as a kid, obviously they beat the shit out of me mentally because it took me forever to figure it out. But I think that as Zelda games go, they are definitely not to be slept on. Oh, damn it. They're definitely not to be slept on, and they are incredibly fun. And I love them because they hold very special memories in my heart. I've always loved playing these games, and Seasons is definitely my favorite of the two. Ages will always be the one I played first and the one I fell in love with first, but Seasons is very enjoyable to me. The puzzles, the dungeons, there's not really much I can say without. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. There's not much I can say about the game without kind of spoiling what happens. Even though these games came out back in 2001, I still think it's worth it to go back and experience them for yourself because they can give you nostalgic feelings very quickly. And with how smooth they are, this is back from a time period where games didn't have to be constantly updated because they were perfect right from the start. And this game does a very good job of showing that because all of the puzzles, the layouts of the maps, the enemies, everything is perfect in how it should be, just like with Oracle of Ages. And if you want a good experience that takes a long time to enjoy, I highly recommend Oracle of Ages and Seasons. It's a lot of fun, and you'll be able to get lost in these cute little worlds because we're so used to the world of Hyrule that we never really get to experience anything else. So it's fun to kind of get lost in these games, and I love them very much. They will always hold a very special place in my heart, and I highly recommend them. And Ash, I'm actually very glad that you are able to take the time and enjoy them yourself, because they're Zelda games that everybody should experience. Everybody should experience the entire Legend of Zelda series. Like, I haven't played Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and I really want to, but I have a DS, so I can get them. But these games are kind of in that same area where you can enjoy them and, just kind of look back fondly on a time where video games kind of hit home. They still do, but older games just kind of remind you that we've come this far as people who play and people who make video games. What do you think, Ash? How do you feel about these?
Oh, hell yeah. I think that these are awesome experiences, just little bite-sized experiences. They're not going to take up too much of your time. I would wholeheartedly recommend this to just about anybody because of that.
For sure.
You can play through both of these games. If you want to get hardcore, you can go and do like the whole 4-game playthrough and whatnot. But there's a surprising amount of depth and quality for what are essentially, I don't want to call them spin-offs, but spin-offs from the mainline Zelda games. I think that, these are a lot of fun, and I can definitely see why people would have fond childhood memories of these. I mean, I do, at least through my experiences with Ages.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying them, dude. I really am. I'm going to go ahead and save this so that we can kind of finalize our thoughts here. But I'm glad that you're enjoying them. It makes my heart really happy to know that I can kind of share memories and share discussions with, one of my best friends. And I'm actually really excited. And I'm going to go ahead and say, if you don't mind, Ash, I'm going to go ahead and pre-plug before everything really gets started. Within the next few months, I'm actually going to start my own YouTube channel. And I'm going to kind of plug Collateral Gaming / Collateral Cinema into that, and I'm looking forward to starting a content creation journey, both with Ash and with myself, where I'm streaming and playing video games and just having a good time. And I will be doing a series called the Legendary Series, where I go from the original Legend of Zelda all the way to Tears of the Kingdom. And I will beat every single Zelda game. I'm going to try to 100% every single Zelda game except for Breath of the Wild and Tears, because there's no way in hell I'm going to find all of those Korok seeds again. I'm really excited because that process will begin within the next few months. I'll build a new computer and we'll get going from there. And Ash, I'm really excited to share that with you. I can't wait to get started because, we're still young. And at some point, you got to take a step forward to do what you really want to do. And this is what I've always wanted to do. And I'm very glad that Collateral Gaming kind of gave me a step into that world, because it's kind of changed the way I look at video games and how I view video games. And I'm very excited.
Hell yeah, man. I'm really excited about that. And that can be really fun, as we get through the season. You can stream and play, like whatever we're going to be talking about. And we can kind of experience that with our listeners. I've been meaning to get a few, Let's Plays or streams out myself.
For sure.
Under the Collateral Gaming brand. But this month, we were set to release The Witcher 3. So apologies for the delay on the Zelda episodes. Those were due out in December, but we got that done. Hopefully at least get one of those episodes, the Witcher 3 episodes out by the end of the month. And then also our anniversary special. So a 2-part episode on The Witcher 3 and a 2-part anniversary special, because this is our 5-year anniversary, on Fable 1 and Fable 2. As soon as I find a way to play them, I've been thinking about hitting up a pawn shop and trying to get a hold of whatever cheap Xbox console I can find that can play 360 games, because I have the games. I just don't have a working 360 console at the moment.
Oh, yeah. You said you were looking into getting a new computer soon, right?
I was looking into it. I was thinking that once I got my tax refund, I would go ahead and buy that.
Our government is hot ass.
Well, here's the thing, okay? It's more than likely because of the way like I set up my W-4 and like withholding, but I just got a lot less back. I've never owed it money on taxes ever, but I'm used to getting a lot more. I only got like after like the TurboTax fees and everything, I'm like less than $100. So yeah, that's not my money that's going to buy a computer. I suppose I should be thankful that much money hasn't been deducted from my paychecks, and that's why I've been getting paychecks as substantial as I have been. But yeah, that is the unfortunate nature. But all that means is that I'm well within my capabilities to save up for a computer. I just need to start putting money away, maybe like $500 a month until I can afford one.
Oh, man, if you can afford to do that, that's usually the way to go. And it's really exciting because if you get a new computer around when I get a new computer, we can have dual streams and stuff like that. And that would be so sick. So, because I want to make a career out of it, and I love the job that I have now, but I don't want to do it forever because it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and nobody really wants to have that life. But very few people are actually strong enough to push forward and do it. Just kind of accept what's happening, and I refuse to do that. So, no offense to anybody who's working a 9 to 5. It's just I don't want to do it anymore. I can't.
I don't think anybody really wants to continue like the rest of their intends to do that the rest of their life. I don't, and I have my 9 to 5, but yeah, you know what? My present lifestyle affords me enough time to game, to be able to play through games like The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons. By the way, Nintendo, we've said it multiple times. Please release a remake. Switch to hardware may be the perfect opportunity to do it. Just do what you did to Link's Awakening to the Oracle games, packaged together. Instead of having to use passwords, the progress could just carry over, so you could just jump into each game, and progress would be tracked. It's the perfect opportunity. I hope they do it.
Oh, dude, they need to. Absolutely.
Thankfully, at least they do have a working version of the original game on their subscription. So, yeah, this has been a good time playing through Zelda, man. I always love it. It was actually really, really nice to be able to play through a Zelda game I've never beat before. That's rare.
Oh, yeah. It's a fun experience.
Right? Like, how often is it nowadays that there is new Zelda content to get through? That's what I had the chance to experience, and I'm excited about it. And I had the chance to experience that last year as well with Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm really riding the Zelda high at the moment.
Oh, yeah. And now you're watching me just kick ass.
I am. So, yeah, stick around for The Witcher 3 Part 1 and Part 2 as soon as possible. Same thing with Fable 1 and 2. We will have to look and see if we're going to continue February as planned as far as our content goes. But I am anticipating doing a game launch review on the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy within the next week or two. Persona 3 Reload as well. Towards probably closer to the end of the month once we get most of our content out. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is also coming out. I think we're going to be doing our game launch episode in early March on that. So lots of new games still coming out. We're still kind of riding that like train that we were through 2023 into 2024, and it's great.
Oh, absolutely. And I know, Ash, I know you bore witness to what I just did to all those bokoblins. That was wild.
That was insane.
Yeah, there was there was a blue boss bokoblin and a bunch of blue bokoblins, and I just wiped them out with a few shots from my with a few swipes of some stone like sword that I had. I don't even remember what it was called. But
Based as fuck.
I appreciate I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate all of our listeners just kind of sticking around with us while we're, just making things happen with the podcast. And it's such an honor to be able to do this, and I can't wait to see what the future holds as far as content happens. And now that I can stream, I can make even more stuff and share that with Ash, and it's really exciting.
Hell yeah, brother. I 100% agree with you. Also, expect a end of the year review sometime by the end of this month or around that time frame. I want to do a review on games that came out this year, just a short mention of a few of them. And Zach, you could help me with that. Hopefully get Megan on as well, so we can talk about a few of the releases that came out this year that we just didn't do an episode on, but are worth mentioning. Even if you just played a demo or a little bit of something, there are several games I've wanted to talk about.
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. I'm always down to talk about content.
Fuck yeah. So, yeah. But thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the rest of our 2024 content, y'all. That being said, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Links are going to be in the show notes. Check out our Patreon as well. We're going to be recording some Let's Play video game commentary soon, actually. I know I haven't been able to release any recently because as I don't have a working capture card, but Zach does now. And he's gonna be streaming this shit. So we might go ahead and upload some of those to the Patreon and have some more commentaries available. Zelda, I think, is definitely going to be involved with that.
And I'll definitely do a long play of Metroid Prime Remastered too. I'll probably go through all the Metroids too, but not the original one. I hate the original one. I hate the OG Metroid. I'm sorry. I just don't like it.
Zero Mission is just a much better game.
Yes, it is. And that is one game that I would like to stream. Also, I love this shrine so much.
It is that is a fun shrine. I remember that one. That one was so fucking cool. Alrighty. Well, we've bullshitted long enough. I've been Ashley Chancellor.
And I've been and will always be your friend. I'm just kidding. I'm Zachary Gio.
Okay, Mr. Spock. We're out.
We're out, man. Thank y'all.
Da, 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 da. Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.